Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel for what is the first video in 2024 where we are finally wrapping up our series talking about FCS conferences with our final FCS conference to talk about. It is the Big South and Ohio Valley Conference merger, better known now as the Big South-OVC Conference. It's really no secret now that so many schools are kind of jumping ship with conferences. Obviously, we see this high profile at the FBS level, but this is happening a lot even at the FCS level. And so a lot of teams that were in these respective conferences have moved on to some different conferences, which kind of left both of these conferences stuck in a weird spot where they didn't have enough programs to qualify for a bid in the FCS playoff tournament. So they got together a couple years ago and said, hey, let's do this thing together. We can kind of like merge each other's teams and programs and create this sort of very unique conference. There's really nothing else like this in college athletics to my knowledge. This conference is slated to be together until at least the 2026-2027 season. So we'll see what kind of happens between these respective conferences until then. We're going to talk about all the logos of the schools in this merger conference here, which currently there are 10 teams, but we're only going to talk about 8 today because, again, we just alluded to the fact that so many conferences are jumping ship, or so many teams are jumping ship out of conferences rather, and the Big South-OVC is not immune to that at all. So of the 10 teams in this conference currently, Bryant University is going to be joining the CAA beginning in 2024. Go ahead and click if you want to see where I ranked Bryant in the CAA. And then also Robert Morris University is going to be joining the NEC in 2024, which we just talked about a few weeks ago. Also, quick mention to Western Illinois University that's slated to join the Big South OVC in 2024. We're not going to talk about them much on this video today, but just know in 2024 there will be 9 teams, which is the 8th that we're going to talk about here today, plus Western Illinois, currently in the Missouri Valley Conference, which we talked about a few months ago as well. So let's go ahead and get it going, starting with what I consider to be the worst logo in the Big South OVC. At number 8, that's going to give us Charleston Southern University. Now this Buccaneer here is not awful, but it just feels kind of, very unbalanced in a way, because most of what we can see on this logo that seems to be the focus is like his hat. I don't know why his hat is so big, especially with that feather that's kind of pointed back. His beard is pointed forward. So that is actually, just that alone is a pretty good balance there with the feather and the beard. There's a lot of like pointed angularity with this logo, but I just don't know why they made his face so small in relation to his hat. What are we supposed to be looking at? What are we supposed to care about? You know, make the face, make the Buccaneer himself the most interesting piece visually to look at with this logo. A lot of hat, not enough Buccaneer. This is one of the few schools that we've discussed on the channel where I actually prefer the word mark that they've used, or like as an alternate logo with that CSU and the crossing swords. I think looks a lot stronger from like a branding perspective. Sorry, Charleston Southern. I love the city of Charleston. It's a really good time, good town. But this university just does nothing for me from a branding or a logo perspective. Just blah. At number 7, we've got a recent rebrand here. This is Gardner-Webb University, the pride of Boiling Springs, North Carolina, with the running Bulldogs here. You know, there's a lot of things that are working well for me. The red and black look really nice, and I love that the red really stands out for his shirt. It's just kind of funny to put this dog in a shirt. It's funny to me, and I think that, yeah, it's pretty strong. The strokes look nice here. This is just really nothing quite negative to say about it, but we do have it ranked at 7 because I think that this program really took a step in a backwards direction here, because the logo that they had before, I really liked. You know, this has a kind of like a vintage sort of like retro look to it, but it was kind of adapted more for like a modern logo, and it worked well for this team, especially with the name Runnin' Bulldogs. You know, this Bulldog is absolutely running with a ton of motion, like he's going somewhere fast, so it worked perfect for this team name. But what we have now, like this current version, is he running? Maybe. It kind of looks that way. Kind of looks a little bit more like waddling than running. I don't see that same level of intensity, emotion, or energy to it as the previous version did, so it's a step in the backwards direction. He's running backwards for me. At number 6, we've got Tennessee Tech. Again, another strong logo here. I love the use of colors, purple and yellow with white. Looks awesome. And the symmetry here is really strong too. I especially love the wing tips and the point down at the bottom below the text of Tennessee Tech. So Tennessee Tech, you know, doing a lot of right things here. But what's losing me is just the fact that, like, I don't think Tennessee Tech really has like a firm footing on what they want their primary logo to be, because they have a million other like variations of basically the same thing, like some kind of bird with some kind of text, and there's a lot of alternate logos of basically the same thing. Looking at this full logo primary here with Tennessee Tech, Golden Eagles, way too much text. Really, I just like, babe, whoa.
My turn.
Babe, can you just really, whoa, we're just really,
What?
Can you just simmer down?
No,
Seriously.
I'm just making people laugh.
At number 5, we've got Lindenwood, which is probably or maybe something, a team that not a lot of you are familiar with. This is a team that has made a recent transition out of Division 2 up to the FCS. So bravo, Lindenwood. Welcome to FCS. Glad to have you, fam. Pretty good logo here that you got too. I'm about it. This lion here actually has a very unique illustration design to it. It looks quite flat, almost like an anime sort of like character. This gives me like Kimba the White Lion vibes a little bit, which I really like. You know, his mane has 2 really sharp points plus like a curved top that kind of give it this like sleek motion going forward to it. This looks really sick on their uniform design, to be quite honest. The longer I spent looking at it and comparing it to some of the logos, not even just in this league, but in FCS in general, I think this is a welcome addition. I'm digging it. I like this logo. At number 4, getting into the top half of our ranking here, we've got Tennessee State, home of the Tigers, with a very unique font choice. I really like the font and the typography that Tennessee State has used throughout the history of their logo design. It's kind of always had that TSU with the tiger head, and I dig that. I think that's smart. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This has worked for quite a while, and it's done a good job at including the team name or the school, TSU, Tennessee State, and then the actual mascot itself with that tiger. Good, strong, firm, solid branding from Tennessee State all across the board. I also really like the helmet design that they use more often than not with a big T and an SU for Tennessee State University. I think that's really cool. Cracking into our top 3, we're going to go ahead and look at Southeast Missouri. Yeah, this thing is sick. Has all the elements that we just talked about with TSU, as far as having like the mascot creature. In this case, it's a red hawk who's extremely like kind of frazzled is the first word that comes to mind with you know, the back of his neck has points going all over the place. You know, he looks like he just got done like running a marathon. His hair is all over. He looks crazy. He kind of looks insane a little bit. And I like all those things. It gives this Red Hawk a lot of like personality and character to it. And I'm a big fan of the way he's like coming over the SEMO for Southeastern Missouri. This is quite strong overall. I'm a huge fan. I love the red eye too. Again, just adding to like that insane look to it. Yeah, Southeast Missouri has done a great job with their branding here, especially, you know, comparing to like some older logos that they've used back before they were known as the Red Hawks. And I like that they chose not to go kind of the direction that Tennessee Tech chose to go, which is, you know, having like a really big mouthful name, you know, Southeastern Missouri State University Red Hawks. It's a lot to say, and that's fine. But to implement all of that in some form or fashion into your logo is, you know, really distracting. Keeping it simple, which is having the SEMO. Great, that's all we need. No more, no less. Don't need the name of the mascot. We can see the mascot. So I'm a huge fan of, yeah, the Southeastern Missouri State Red Hawk. Awesome logo. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we've got the Eastern Illinois Panthers with an all-time beauty of a logo. I mean, the blue and the white, everything about this looks so crisp, so beautiful. It just... look at these gorgeous colors. I mean, my God. He's got awesome shading to kind of give him this like pop out 3D effect that he's coming out of like the crest behind him. I think that's just like a really neat effect. And then also just the energy, the emotion that he's giving. I mean, he's just really, really, really tough and ferocious looking. And he looks pissed, quite frankly. This is just incredible branding for Eastern Illinois, home of Jimmy Football. Jimmy Garoppolo went to the school, and these uniforms have never looked better. Huge fan of the coloring, the identity, the branding behind the school, which has always had pretty awesome logos. Truth be told, some of these give me like Carolina Panther vibes a bit. I just love the energy from this Panther and the color scheme. Everything about this is just top notch. However, for our number 1 spot, we got to go with the University of Tennessee at Martin. This is home to the Skyhawks. The intensity coming off of this Skyhawk is just like palpable. I can feel it coming through the screen at me. This bird looks pissed, and it looks ready to attack, kind of coming down at you. This just has so much energy and emotion to it. You know, I love the whole vibe of him kind of looking like a pilot, you know, with the goggle effect. That's kind of the whole motif behind the Skyhawk, with like some of their alternate branding and just sort of like the ideas behind naming the school the Skyhawk and the connection that it has to the University of Tennessee at Martin. I love the identity of this and the way that they executed it. It was done to perfection. Overall, genuinely one of the best branding packages that a school has put out that we've talked about on this channel. So UT Martin, give it up, starting 2024 with an absolute banger of a logo that we're talking about here. Love this logo. And y'all, that's going to do it for today's video for the Big South-OVC, a conference that's kind of doing the best that it can given the circumstances with the Big South and OVC just having such a limited number of FCS football members. So very great schools in this conference that I was really stoked to talk about. Not much left to say. Welcome to 2024. Thank you so much for the support and for clicking and for hanging out. Go Grizz. Big game tomorrow. Gonna welcome national championship number 3 for the University of Montana Grizzlies. I'm knocking on wood for something completely unrelated though. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for hanging out.